large clinical trial in South Africa and Uganda has shown that a twice-yearly injection of a new pre-exposure prophylaxis drug gives young women total protection from HIV infection. Now, the trial tested whether the 6-month injection would provide better protection against HIV infection than two other pre-exposure drugs, both daily pills. Now, for more on what makes this breakthrough so significant and what to expect next, we joined virtually by the Deputy Director of the Desmond Tutu HIV Centre at the Institute of Infectious Disease and Molecular Medicine at the University of Cape Town, Professor Linda-Gail Bekker. Prof, good morning. So good to have you with us this morning.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So I must say, as the rock stars, one of the rock stars in this field in trying to find, solutions to the HIV/AIDS problem, when I saw the story last week, I immediately thought of you. So what was the feeling like when those results came through?
Extraordinary, I must say. Seeing the results with 0 infections in the arm that received the 2-yearly lenacapavir injection was frankly sort of spine-chilling. We haven't seen that before. And, it gives me great hope and great relief, I think, because it has been so hard to find something that really works for young women in particular, but young people around the world. They struggle to do something daily. And here is an option for those individuals who battle with daily pills to actually be able to protect themselves. And so huge excitement on our side and looking forward to seeing it, become a mainstream prevention opportunity.
And we'll get to that and access in a while. But first, Prof, over the past 40 years, we have seen some incredible advances in the development of effective HIV treatments that would allow people living with HIV to successfully suppress their virus and undetectable levels and avoid transmitting it to others. Now, let's talk about these trials and, of course, what it's set out to achieve and where we find ourselves right now.
Yeah, so we're obviously cashing in on those fantastic antiretroviral agents that have been so effective in treatment. And just want to give a shout out for that concept that if people are on their antiretrovirals and they are undetectable, they are uninfectious. So we talk about U equals U, very important. But for those individuals who are not living with HIV, who need to protect themselves, using these ARV-based prevention modalities gives them some sense of control. So what it means is individuals who are not living with HIV can take antiretroviral pre-exposure prophylaxis and thereby protect themselves should they be exposed to HIV, whether inadvertently or at a time when a condom isn't available or with a partner who they don't know the status in. This gives an opportunity for protection. And that's exactly what Purpose 1 showed. Using the 6-monthly injectable agent was superior to daily pills, but also better than the background incidence, the background infection rate that was measured in young women in similar communities where the clinical trial was run.
And of course, Prof, a randomized controlled trial, and this was called Purpose 1. But I read that the results were so convincing that the trial was actually halted early at the recommendation of the Independent Data Review Committee and said that all participants then should be offered this injection. And that must have been quite exciting as well.
Yes, very important that these days we run clinical trials as ethically and carefully as we can. So this means an independent board looks at the data at pre-specified times, and they see all the data, even the data that is blinded to the rest of us. And they are able to assess whether, first of all, is there harm in any one of the arms? is there great benefit in any one of the arms, or is this trial never going to show any particular results? And under any one of those circumstances, they can recommend that the trial should be stopped early. In this case, happily, it was because there was such great benefit in the lenacapavir arm that it is considered unethical not to unblind the study and offer that opportunity to all the participants in the trial. So the next step now will be to move, and in fact, from today, individuals will be coming into the trial sites. They will receive their assignation, which arm they were actually put into, and then they will be able to choose whether they would like to go on with oral pills or move to the lenacapavir, or indeed, stop PrEP. Maybe their situation has changed and they no longer want to be taking pre-exposure prophylaxis at all. So these opportunities will now lead to choice, and individuals will then be followed up in an open label fashion. In other words, they will know what product they're actually being given.
Prof, does the fact that this hasn't been subjected to peer review yet make any sort of significant difference?
I think it does, to a point. We always, in science, we greatly value peer review to be sure that there's agreement on the results that have been shown, how we've interpreted those results, and we are undergoing that at the moment. So a manuscript is under review at the moment, and of course we will be presenting these data more completely at the International AIDS Conference, which will be happening in 2 weeks' time in Germany. So we will get our peers' input at that point. But the way these studies are now run, the chances that the data itself is not interpretable, is not correct, is very, very slim indeed. But as I mentioned, the way science should be run, correctly should be run, is that we as peers look at the data and come to a consensus that we think it has been interpreted correctly and it is being pronounced. Having said that, no infections in the lenacapavir arm, I feel is a fairly robust result. And so I think we can feel secure that certainly lenacapavir as a 6-monthly injectable seems to be doing its business in the correct way.
So I see also, Prof, that the second trial will now be conducted in 6 other countries. Can we talk about those countries and exactly what the trial will actually include?
Well, what is now expected to happen is that as we move towards approval in countries and access, there will be opportunities for implementation science. So it's important for viewers to recognize this has been in a phase 3 trial. This is under very carefully managed conditions. We now need to know, does this work as well in a real world setting? And is it feasible in our health settings, in the health sector? And so those kind of phase 4 trials where we move into real world environment, where public sector clinics will be able to actually administer, those carefully managed implementation science projects will get underway. And that'll give us further insight, further safety data. We'll be able to look at this product in pregnant people, in younger people, and other individuals. In addition, there are some trials still underway in other populations. So, for example, Purpose 2 is underway even now as we speak amongst cisgender men, non-binary men, transgender people who have sex with men all around the world. So we will be getting information about this product in other populations, hopefully very soon, and hopefully as exciting and as positive.
Prof, as far as side effects go, what can you tell us at this stage about that?
Always very important that, a product can be as good as anything. And if it is difficult to take or people find it intolerable, then of course it's no good to anyone. What we found with lenacapavir is that the most common side effect was actually the injection site reactions. Of course, it is a needle, it is an injection, it goes under the skin. It's a little bit painful. And so people did describe injection site reactions, mostly pain, but also little nodule forms at the place where the injection material is placed under the skin. That does dissipate over time, but that was also described in the study as an adverse event, if you like. None of them high level, and certainly none of them, causing undue concern amongst researchers. So by and large, a very safe and easily managed intervention in that regard.
And coming back to that question that we parked at the beginning, Prof, about access and cost. And I see here the charges in the United States is about $42,250 per year per patient on lenacapavir, where it is approved as a treatment for HIV. And I checked the exchange rate this morning, a whopping almost 680,000 Rand per patient per annum. So let's talk about that and what sort of hindrance that may be.
A huge hindrance. It will stop the whole exercise in its tracks if we have those sorts of costs. Clearly, this has to be affordable to be a prevention tool. We want to be able to get this out to everybody who might be at risk for HIV. So we're talking about large numbers of individuals, and therefore the cost has to be affordable. Gilead has come out in a second press statement to say that they will be considering a not-for-profit tiered pricing for low and middle income countries. And obviously, we're really very anxious to see what that price point will be. They have also said that they are already in negotiation to offer licenses to generic companies. And we know that that's an important way to bring down the price of antiretroviral agents. When generic companies are able to manufacture, they can do so competitively and take advantage of economies of scale. So hopefully that all will happen very quickly, because otherwise this is a wonderful new phenomenon that won't be able to get onto our shelves and into our clinics and won't be able to be used. So this is the time when we move into that sort of advocacy and activism role of saying, please, we need to have this in a way that our countries can benefit. These trials have been run in Uganda, in South Africa. It really does need to get into the Eastern Southern African region for us to gain benefit.